Hello everyone, Nyonstar here, and it's time to talk about my third grade experience. This was one of my favorite school years. This is the next installment in my school stories saga, but I'll try not to reference the previous videos too much, for those of you just joining us. Though if you want to, you can go and watch those too. After the last year, I was celebrating leaving my last teacher, Miss B, behind. She was incredibly mean, and I'd been stuck with her for 2 years. But it was 2012, baby, and it was time for a change. I met my new teacher, and her name was Mrs. L. She was a very energetic and fun teacher. She even bonded with my dad over their football team, the Denver Broncos. My dad's such a fan that my childhood's color palette was orange and blue. She even had a Staples That Was Easy button on her desk. I never got to press it, though. This school year is the one I remember the most, for elementary school at least. I was 8 and life was good. A lot of my previous classmates were with me, Mason being one of them. His best friend, who I'll call X, and I met this year. This was the friend I mentioned in my seizures video. I won't talk about them here, so if you want to see me talk about my seizures, you can go watch that video. This was the year I started being more social with my peers. Though it has been a long time, so I can't remember too many of them. There was a kid in this class that was usually goofing off. Mrs. L always gave him a hard time. There was a set of twin girls I was friendly with. I'll call them L and R since I don't actually remember their names. R was the one I had in my class. There was also Adam, who was the short guy. This year our class was upstairs again. The most notable thing about this hallway was the window. There was a giant window covering the whole wall that let you see the plaza area with the giant tree. I was absolutely terrified of this hallway. We were always asked to line up near the window, and I was terrified of falling. My first grade classes were on the other side of the window. Fun fact, once I dreamed that I pushed Miss B out that window. If only. I was definitely the weird kid. One time, I sang a Vocaloid song for the entire class. Ugh, that still keeps me up at night. The song was Nya Nya Dada, by the way. I'm sorry for the cringe. The year before, I became obsessed with Bloody Mary, and I was generally interested in horror and all that, so that kind of freaked out the other kids. Since it was 2012, I also got really into creepypastas. Speaking of 2012, this was the year of the election. The one before was when I was 4, so I don't actually remember it. On the day of the election, I remember we got the day off, and I watched Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood for the first time. But despite being 8, there was political tension, even for us. I remember talking to my friends about it, but we were so young that our political talks were pretty shallow. A kid in my class once blurted out that he wanted Obama to lose because of the color of his skin, even though he was friends with X, who was also black. This brought class to a screeching halt. The teacher had us all line up and asked for anyone who was a person of color to step forward. I remember not knowing what that meant and almost stepped forward. I didn't, though. Honestly, looking back, it feels like I was in one of those fake political Tumblr posts. This was the year we were supposed to learn cursive. I'd wanted to learn, since most of the other kids knew, and I thought it looked cool. We had only one lesson, though. After that, Mrs. L kept forgetting and putting it off. Eventually she gave up and told us that we wouldn't be learning cursive after all. I still don't know cursive. Though, since I think it's kind of pointless, now I don't want to learn it out of spite. Another thing that haunts me at night is the slide incident. On the playground, there was this huge slide next to some of the swing sets. I was climbing up the stairs when I noticed how wobbly the whole slide was. It honestly felt like it was gonna fall over, so I decided to be heroic and stop anyone from sliding. This group of girls came up and I told them it was too dangerous. They tried to push past me, but I wasn't letting them. Then I said the worst thing I could have. I said I was gonna off myself if they used the slide. Yeah. They reported me to a teacher, and I was forced to go to the nurse's office. I ended up meeting with a therapist, but he probably realized I was full of it, and I never saw him again. My brain likes to replay this whenever I feel too good about myself. Let's move on to something more lighthearted. This was the year we learned about multiplications. To help us learn, we had the Multiplication Sunday. We were given a slip of paper to test our knowledge, and once we passed one set of numbers, we colored in another section on this chart. If we got through a certain amount of tests, we'd get an ice cream sundae at the end of the year. I could never get past my 4s. But it was enough to go to the party. Next to the plaza with the tree, we had these giant stairs in a space. During the party, I was talking to this guy when I mentioned I had a strong pinch. I have trouble cutting my nails, so they were long. He said that there was no way I could make him bleed. I kept telling him I didn't want to, but he kept insisting. So I pinched him hard, and he ratted me out to the teachers. I wasn't allowed to have ice cream until everyone else had finished. I sat on the floor crying, even when I ate my ice cream. Let's talk more about X. He was my main friend this year. Eventually, I ended up having a bit of a crush on him. I told him this one day, and we started dating. For a day. Actually, it was more of an hour. I wrote him a love note, and Mrs. L found it. She scolded us and told us we were too young to date. We stopped being so close after this. Another time Mrs. L scolded me was when this girl and I were pulling on this other girl's arm to get her to play with us. She said we hurt her, and I felt terrible. She once got mad at R for selling a can of hairspray for more than she bought it for. She told us that it was illegal to upsell. Could you imagine if that was true? Once a kid went down the tube slide and landed on me. She was mad at him, but also told me that I wasn't as hurt as I was acting. All of these scoldings happened after recess, by the way. One special we had this year, that we didn't have any other year, was reading clubs. The class was split into two halves, and one half would go to a different class to read. Another class did the same thing, so we switched half of the class with half of theirs. After we switched, the teachers would then read out a book. This is how I experienced Alice in Wonderland, Charlotte's Web, Island with the Blue Dolphins, and Trumpet of the Swan. It was after this special I had my second seizure. Let's talk about the class next to us. There was this kid in that class who was always rude to me. He was the one who made fun of my first seizure. He shoved me to the ground once after school, and Ian and his mom comforted me afterwards. Speaking of which, Ian was also in that class. We didn't hang out much, but I still had a crush on him. Unfortunately, in the middle of the year, Ian moved to Texas. We didn't even say goodbye to each other. Another thing Texas has taken from me. This was an eventful year for pets for me. We got Ursa this year, and my dad showed her to my class after school. My brother was also born this year, and we got Marshmallow the next semester. Marshmallow died over Easter break, which was very difficult for me. I told my friends this and was promptly bullied for it. During music, PE, at the library, they never stopped mocking me for being sad over a rabbit. This was the start of my villain arc. I was bullied pretty regularly in school, but this was what really got to me. My idea for my first YouTube video back in the day was a vent about these jerks. I drew the frames in this notebook I had. Maybe I could find it sometime. Well, I've exhausted all my memories of this year. Overall, I had a good experience this year, despite the bullying at the end. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and hit subscribe. You can also go and watch the previous episodes in this series. I hope you all have a good day. Bye! She was very Why the fuck are there people stomping upstairs? I'm gonna kill someone.
Stomp on their heads now.
My dad's such a fan that he stomped on the ground. Jesus Christ. She even had a Staples "that was easy" button on her desk. Where you going, kitty? You can go. God. There was a set of twin girls I was... Fucking goddamn it.
Keep that in at the outtake.
There was a set of Everyone wakes up at once to interrupt my recording. Once I dreamed that I pushed Miss... Since it was 2012, I also got really into creepypastas. This group of girls came up, and I told him it was too dangerous. I said I was gonna off myself if they used the slide. Why keep stirring? I ended up meeting with a therapist. So I pinched him hard, and he ran... Someone's stomping upstairs. I'll kill him. After we switched, the teachers would then read out a book. And then tumble down the stairs, apparently. Speaking of which, this was the start of my villain arc. My idea for if you enjoyed this... Shut the fuck up there. If you enjoyed this video, smash the floor. If you enjoyed this video, smash the... I swear they're doing it whenever I talk.
Wait, 1 second. Someone's trying to...
You can also go... to hell.